stream signals. High direction location. Leave. Alright guys. High interference of position of directions here. Going live at signal. Position location. Channel lane on. We got in calculation here. Signal in high center. Okay. There's a lot of things that are happening right now. Is what I'm doing with the YouTube line interference with direction location line conditions. So using on the phone lines, the track line centers is way off the visual location of the calculations. So it's streaming its high center location, so we have to go to the phone lines. All right. Interchanges position location of directions. All right, so it's still the same thing. You still see thing. It's just a different frame. That's all. So it's all good. I knew it was going to work through the phone line center, but the computer didn't understand adaptation cycle. It interferes position location of directions. So hope everybody's doing well. It's great to see everybody. We're going to channel into high grounds and communication line streams into calculation line centers. We're also going to go through the alphabetical streaming and location. This is going to open all channel line conditions, all right? So we're going to go through white light graph line center. Now, in position of directions, the triangulation high center is set up as location of box interference. Its position locations. Illumination graph, interference position of channel, calculation modification, line stream interference of direction locations. Box channel line center, okay, correlation interference and position location line conditions, okay, over sequence patterns, okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 location to its position of direction, okay. Let's go through that line conditions, all levels, okay. Signal interference, circle and position location of directions. All right, so we're going to go to illumination graph line, dimensional setting to rotation spin cycle. Okay. Now the spin cycle is in high channel, and it's rotation of its interference. Now we're going to look at the 12 line rotation. You guys have to understand how to use your 12 line center interference. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12 position location of direction. Okay. Now that's set in signals. We're going to go through the coloration path. That's going to open up a higher division location line conditions. This is overlapping sequence patterns, correlation to box location. All right? You guys understand how to do these things. Overlapping location of dimensional settings. Okay? You see how it comes into satellite line system location? Now, once you understand that, you come into the sequence pattern. It comes into another box location. Okay? Simultaneously. All right. So once it's in that high line center, it opens all communication line interference. We set another security plateau interference location of directions. Okay. Setting signals and position of directions. We're going to set line strip graphs. Communication to its position location of direction. Okay. Opening all communication line centers. You guys are going to travel through 12 line position locations. First, I'm going to put you in line center interference, okay, in position. Now, once that's in position location, we're setting up a new ground line center of sun line rotation system location, all right? Ground in a high channel line system. Now, we're coming into all levels of Ying and Yang. The cross signal location is security location into the center operation line center to the fluctuation line conditions of levels. Y line center interference and position location of flux capacitor. Okay. Now, as the flux capacitor comes in high channel, we change on line center interference and direction. Okay. So it's mostly important to understand these things because you have to charge line centers and mechanisms on the right line center and position location in the left location. This puts you in a higher line position of directions. So once you come in that location, you basically set the core line center and directions in green circle locations in position, right? Now, as it's coming into a hub line center, protecting ground line center or higher ground interference location line systems. Okay? Now, when you're in that position location of directions, we're going to set up all lines into yin and yang. The process of communication is to start how to set position locations. All right, you have to go into colors and patterns. There's yin and yang in the process line, balance line position locations. So it's all about understanding how to use it through calculations. Now it correlates its on a ground line center and it comes in position of directions is 12 DNA to correlation line and rotation. All right. Communication high interference of directions. So it's channeling into 3 communication cycles, applied to division location, electrical light conditions, opens all communications. 2, it's all lines of yin and yang location. Okay. Now in position locations, what's off signal? This has to be down, right? So I'm just showing you how you can change your emotional interference, your emotional track line conditions. So the ground changes its position locations into the ground location. Okay, so the ground stays on the ground. It switches its position location of its directions. And the high channel line center changes position location into the second line center location, which is a secure line rotation. Now it's in balance. Okay, so it's all about understanding how to put your chakra systems. We start with the 3 line centers. Now we change position locations. We have 1 line, we have a 2 line, we have a 3 line, we have a 4 line position location and direction. Okay? Now you have to understand all levels of graph line. Once you understand that line system, it sets its course and division location of calculation. All right? So it's all about understanding how you use the human resonance, how to use the ground securities, and everything to platitude division location line conditions. Right? So once you get in that channel line center, it opens all communication on the system. But there's another problem here. This is yellow. This is the power line center. It's in the wrong position. I'm just trying to show you how your emotional system changes direction line system. So it's in calculations to orange, which is all levels of your sacral location. Right? And then you come into your power line channel. And that opens all line center locations. We already know it's yellow. Right? Comes into yin and yang, position, location, and directions. Okay, so there's 4 line position, location, and directions. Now, there's 7 in the body line, but there's 8 line. The 8th line is your telepathy. That's the infinity position, location, and directions. You have to learn how to use the 4 line position, location first. The grounds is top notch. 24 signals in 24 line centers in directions. 24 times 1 is 24,000 line conditions, all level position, location, and direction. See? See? See it channels up in triangulation? There's a triangulation line condition, right? So that triangulation changes position, location to 3 diversions. The tactic view is the point location to the ground line center and position locations to the high channel line conditions to its position or direction. Okay? How to channel it is all levels of you. How you use your emotional line interference, position, location to its direction. Okay? So travel line centers, code signal interference, position, locations, all levels. Code channels, operation signal, in position, operation, location. Channel op, communication line stream in position locations into 4 line positions of yin and yang. Merge in position of balance communication cycles. Remove all line center interference, position, location, directions. High signal at channel line center, electrical light in rotation interference. Code signal location to cruise, squad units 1 and 2 position. Into the GFL, rebellion location, ascending, ascension, God location. Now you guys have traveled through that. You got an XT1000 coming in. XT1000 right there, right at the top. So that's just coming in position location. It's vortexing to another line center in position location. All right. So it sky screens its high line center right down its position location of directions. Okay, this is how you set things up in platitude division location. Now the screen interference opens all communication. The power generation light center is set up to its calculation modification line condition. This opens up all levels of view, right? True to understand all lines in its communication graph interference, where it can platitude division location to all levels of laser in position locations, offline condition to its directions, in position location to its calculation. All right. It's all about understanding how to set up a sequence pattern and what the XT1000 line condition is doing. All right. So it gets more complicated when you understand how to merge all your chakra system into one position, location, and one direction. One clocking system, one coloration, one light, simultaneously all at once position, location, using all your perceptions in the now system location. Okay? That's what you guys have to understand, because it's very powerful when you understand how to use this in all levels of direction. Okay? So once it's in that high center, the scan line center comes in position locations. Now we come into channel line conditions of the sun. Scan position location, scan position location, scan position location, scans position location, all levels of division location. At high centers, it's tactic view in position location of direction. Ooh-ah. Okay? So it's very powerful when you understand line conditions of XT1000s and what is their purpose, right? You set the grids and they set the shape locations. So this is how you merge your self-line center, your chakra location, to its calculation system. This vortex, its channels, the higher line channel rotation interference. But I'm just showing you why it's so powerful. So as you guys are traveling through that, we're going to go through tunnel lines. Now, tunnel lines set position, location, and directions. It's opening up a new signal location. But you have to understand, either you're going to start with the grounds. If you're set up through the grounds, you can work through your securities. If you're not with your securities, you have to go back to the grounds. If you're with the grounds and the security, then you can go into the location of the sacral. But you have to understand your emotional track changes vibration line interference. So the ground line center is set up as its locations. Starts with that location. All right, so remember, it's in a box sequence location times calculation. And then you come into line center location and security line. Now this opens up communication to more program setting position location of calculation. All right, and then you come into the sacral communication line stream in position of directions, different coloration line centers, and direction locations. And then you come into all levels, power recognition and time center, interference location line conditions, right? There's yellow at the top location. So it's all about your channel line centers. If you don't understand the power line center interference, it disappears on location. So you got 3 position location and directions. Understanding the grounds. This is where you get into your pre-flight checks of the line location. Your vibration will change the atmosphere line centers every single time you channel through operation of your thought lines. This opens up all process communication system. All right? So once you get into that calculation, you set the yellow line back in calculation to your power centers. That's your generation light center. That is your communication right here. It's the power generation to the atom line rotation. Now, once you understand the vibration location through its calculation, you can uprise line centers. Yellow position location is the power lines. Now, we know that through location, everything is in balance. Okay, so it gives you a better understanding why it's so important to ground the mind system adaptation of space. Because you have to understand in calculations, you can have a ground line center into a mega communication, into a yellow signal. You can have a blue line center of a triangle interference location as security measure. You can have a sacral communication line center to a box interference location of direction. And you can have your power line center and direction location to all position locations of on-line center locations into a starlight connection. All right? So it's all about understanding all levels of shapes and how it modifies all lines of you through vibration. You have your alpha channel, your communication system. You have your delta waves and high line center interference, your shapes and anomalies. And you have your planet division locations, all levels of theta, communication of triangles and communication line streams into your teleportation unit locations of your perception, your TV reception line connections, right? Or you can have your beta communication line center on a low gravity location in the ground system, or you can have your mega communication in the center operation of you through calculation, right? So it's basically understanding how to use your vibration line centers, okay? There's no reason to get lost. It's just trying to understand more levels of you. So once you get in the green line interference, in position of directions, you come into the heart line. Vibration comes into calculations to its system, okay? So once that comes in its system locations, you can channel in. So this is all about understanding where you can go into the red line center to the heart line condition. There's the heart, right? So the heart stays in sequence pattern, high channel line and interference location. So the heart has to recognize every frequency that you use through your thought lines. So the heart line center and signal interference location in the lulls changes position location of its directions. So it merges and cycles in a cyclone line center location and protects all line center to the star line system, square reference location, triangle force line center, or power generation of operation location. Okay? That's all timeline interference location of balance on communication and heart line. Okay? So the heart line's recognizing everything through triangulation. There it is. Ooh-ah. Triangulation force line. Communication of balance all through vibration location and Schumann resonance. Set and signal to its platitude division location line conditions, guys. All right, so once you understand that, you come into the water main, which is all levels of the throat line. Now that changes this location of directions. Your throat comes up in high signal location, like a mountain. Okay, high channels its position, location, and directions. Now you can come in high center line conditions. Remember, the XT1000 only comes in if you're confused. It only comes in if you're frustrated. It only comes in if you're having anxiety. It only comes in if you're angry. That's the only time they come in. Because the thing is that they have to clean up what you have already done. If you're not in position, location of directions and how to set your positions to your hologram structure and create your line centers to its anomaly, that's going to switch your division location to its calculations. Okay? So it's truly understanding all levels of you. You set the grids, they set the shapes. Okay? In calculation, you see this through its equation. Right? So once you're in platitude division locations of water, you come into calculations. Now this all lines its position. This is the sequence pattern where you have to truly understand the ground line center, making sure that 001 is in track location, especially when you're traveling. So 001 of grounds, 001 position location security, and so on, and so on, and so on. So the metric line and the communication system has to be in 001 traction. It has to be. It has to be in force line communication system. So the ground line center is set up in position. The security line center is set up in position locations. All levels. The SACR system set up location is 001. In position location, coming into the power line center set up position locations, right? And everything through all line condition is the heart line center set up in 001. It's all in tactical view in triangulation, right? And then 001 is set up location in positions to its water line, which is your throat. Now, as it's in position locations, now once you have your balancing communication system, this is where it becomes extremely powerful. This opens up all levels of you through triangulation. To understand how to use it through your chakra system is merging all your chakras in system location. Okay? So once you get into that, you come into what? What's next? The communication line centers from the throat pattern location. You're going up into the headline, right? Rotation line interference, vector communication system, right? So lacing lines, overcrossing streams in position location, ear line centers right, ear position location left, ground line centers and positions of Mother Earth and Father Space location, eye line center interference of high position locations, a higher ground line center. Okay, if you go into a higher ground line center, you come into more line center interference location of directions. Now, you can stay at 001 location, right, from the grounds and work your way up, or you can go faster to acceleration and change your number sequence location to 001 equals 2. Okay? So that position location changes your 12 DNA because you're going to higher line. 12 times 12 is 144. But you have to recognize the vibration to its location to 24, 48, 72, or 144. Okay? This is how it comes into its equation times pi times calculation. Box interference of calculation modification stream system puts position location of direction. Okay? So it's interesting how you see these things. All right? It's incredible force when you see this location. All right? It's amazing when you see all location to its calculation system. You see what I'm saying? It's so powerful when you understand the calculation to its modification line stream. It opens all levels of you through particle system locations, right? So as you're going to higher lines, then you come into higher position locations. You have the ground line center here, Okay, and then you got to work with the head space line sys location of space. So you got the 7-track line center, and then you got to reach the 5 position location of atmosphere at time. Now this puts you in a higher level of acceleration. Okay, this puts you in a higher level of division location, all lines to its tactic view. This puts you in a higher position location in its calculations, right? So when you come from here, you're working your way up, right? With the pyramid. The nose is the pyramid line. These are the eye line center location of laser lines, okay? You have to learn how to use your elixirs and its communication line system, how to use the laser direction locations to all levels, how to use your templates of 4-line communication system, north, west, south, and east, okay? Or north and south, east and west. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're balanced always in the right and the left line conditions to its yin and yang, the process of the communication of north and the process location of south. But you have to understand your north, west, south, and east, right? The center operation is you. That never changes. That's the physical line. The physical line, all it does is it reacts to everything to its location, right? But you have to understand how to balance these things in all position location when it comes into your Schumann resonance, all right? Because it helps you and helps everything else of what you're doing through your travel location, okay? So when you're in that position locations, all right, you come into your 3rd eye line center, which is all line connections to what? The indigo, right? The indigo locations. Now this channels in higher line center. The indigo is the position location line center to Ryan's belt location, right? Now once you're in that position location, you have to be in 001. Okay, everything's got to be in a applied division location of 001. If you want to go to higher line center, you have to go to higher levels of 12 sequence patterns. You have 7 within body, 5 within atmosphere, and then times position at 12 is 144. But to get there is a different code frequency, which changes your number sequence to your matrix location. Okay, so once you come into that line center, the acceleration and your clocking system changes every single time you change your motion of your thought locations. Okay, so it's important you understand that. And once you understand this, then you understand the realm. It's spinning on so many levels of position locations to all this in one position. All at once. All at once. Now, when you're in sequence patterns, then you can come into higher levels of numbers. You guys have to formulate location in the line center and come into your data stream location in your T reception lines. This puts you in a better position location of directions. All right. So once you come into that, it looks like this to its location. It's very powerful when you see these things, you know? Okay, so you come into your data, okay, equals stream. All right, showing you exactly what happens after when you understand the process communications, where you have to merge all levels of technology, all shapes into one position location. Okay, so it's very powerful when you understand what's going on with you through motivation, right? So you come into your data stream. Now that data stream is position location to its grounds, and the ground setter is set up position location line conditions of all levels of through operation. So you got a circle location at ground line center, open all communication system, right? So your chakra center stays in the center line, but it uprises its position location of direction, okay? So it sequence patterns and it changes its location to its position location of its directions. Comes into your DNA. Okay? It's very powerful when you understand that location. So it's like climbing a ladder, and then you got 2 line centers of panels, communication to your line center, your runway location. All right, so when you get the ground line center and it's set up position location to its calculations, then it changes the frequency pattern. Now the frequency pattern changes on lines to your grids. It opens all your communication cycles to its position of directions, right? So this is where you come into the crystal line. All right, crystal line to its location to all merge line system. So you're merging all lines of shapes, letters, and numbers and symbols in one position location. But you have to start out with all levels first, right? Of shapes. Shapes are easy to identify, and that's all levels of triangulation. But you have to understand more levels of through motion. That's the only way you can balance anything through your connections. Your emotional track is number 1, staying in position, location of directions, so you know exactly what you're doing through transmitting and receiving information. That's going to help you along the way. That's going to help you more levels of process location, right? Understanding you more is understanding yourself through its avatar. And what is the purpose of what's going on? Is to understand the emotional system is all levels of you through coloration. Okay? It's extremely powerful when you understand all these things, guys. Okay? So once you merge into position, location, of directions, right, you come into hard line signals. Now this changes all levels of the ground line center, inner rotation to its calculations, right? Now once it understands its DNA, it blends into its system locations, all right? So it's like a web graphing screen. It's coming in position, location, of directions, right? Now, you can change the channel to its hard line center if you're going to change your emotional track. That means it changes line strips. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5 line centers of emotional location. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 line center interference. 1, 2. My emotional track changed to 2 line centers back in communication. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 line centers, the heart activation line center in rotation to its heart position. Now, it's all about understanding how fast your DNA can change just through the ground interference of 24,000 light signals in rotation system. Okay? So once you change that line in rotation, the pixel activation changes to code stream interference. Now you can plan it to visual locations, changing your shapes, letters, numbers, and symbols in one position location. So it's all about changing your data stream and going like this, really, really fast. Shape, letter, number, symbol, shape, letter, number, symbol, shape, letter, number, symbol, shape. So it's all about putting things in order with your motion. And it all goes back in line center interference, or reference line interference, location, line connection, all levels to your vibration. Okay? So, how are we doing so far? It's powerful when you understand what's going on, right? I just want to show you what you can do with your DNA and how you can change your motion interference and position, location, of directions. All right? It's very powerful when you see your locations. All right? Changing perception lines, changing unit line center interference. So it changes track location to its position. So we got 3 locations. Now we cross signal in its hard line center. This puts up a center line connection to its grid. Now the grid opens up position, location, directions, lines up in position to the center operation of view, which is all levels of here, which is the realm. Now that communicates to its line connections to a diamond system location. All right. Now as it comes in channel, we see the structure of the pixel activation stream into the hologram location. We cross signals in high line center and interference of its direction. Okay? Fully calculating line center. The ground line center has to be E equals M velocity of position locations of diamond. Same with your security. Same with your sacral. Same with your power. You understand? Same with the locations to your heart. It all has to be in sequence patterns of 0, 0, 1. Okay? So it's important to understand these things, how your DNA changes all levels of the particle system. The photons and the protons and the electrons and the neutrons and the gametons are setting position of direction to its location to balance you in the heart line center of what you do through calculation. And that's why it's so powerful to understand the recognition of timeline system to its position, to its grid line interference, to its program location, to its deep reception. Okay? So it's important you understand these things. And once you cross streams in position locations, you come into hard line center. Okay? You come into a swivel. Now a swivel opens up communication to its flux capacitor. It high channels its high line center to T reception. So it opens all signal to its location. Okay? It's very powerful when you understand what's going on through modification system. Okay? It's incredible force. So when you're high channeling its high line center, you set up electrical light connections. It puts position locations. Now the highest formation of light signal is all levels of the sun. Now the sun sets in line center at 1,000 location of coloration. All right? 9,000 pi light line interference location of direction, coloration interference location of directions opens all communication line system. That's an electrical light panel that opens all communication to your tracker system of your 12 DNA. All right? Signal in position location of direction location. See? At the top line system. Okay? So this merges all the way around to its calculation. Right? balancing its communication, crossing stream, high down line center, changing the ground interference, and setting new signal path line center location to its position of the directions to its crop circle. Okay, see how beautiful that is? So knowing exactly what is going on with you is all levels of you through your coloration. It opens all communication cycles, resets generation lights, open all communication systems to your triangulation force lines. It opens all communication line streams in your position of directions, right? To understand how powerful you are in inside line connections to all levels of your calculations to your data stream. Your data stream locations come in a white graph location, the board lines. So it's all about position locations. How you use your sun and how you use your moon is all determination on you and how you use your thought pattern. Okay? So it's important you understand these things because you guys are coming into higher levels of allegiance, higher levels of rebellion, higher levels of ascending and ascended and ascension convocation. I want you to understand how you guys can use your conversions and tactic views and use the coloration path to its all line center to know exactly what is going on with your position location to all line system to your shapes in vibration line system. Okay? This recognizes you through identification, right? And it's all levels of the particle system locations. How you use the particle system. You got calculation here in position of direction. All right, so we got a rainbow graph location of an atom line. High position location division, high location division, triangulation. There's one line center interference. Now, we all align position location. Now, the photons come in as locations. They come into high center line in rotation to sonar line rotation. Okay? In direction line center, interference position location line conditions. And this is how you channelize center location as space line communication. All right? Now, in position of directions, it's opening up signal patterns. You always have to set up panels communication line interference. Now we've got the water communication line stream in position locations into hot line center location of its intelligence. See the intelligence? Now the intelligence comes in high line rotation interference. XT1000 comes into all line conditions. They set up the security patterns. They open all communication line center to box interference locations. Triangles force line center to another box interference. Triangle force down line center to another box interference. In position location to all levels into another box line interference location of direction. Okay? So it's really understanding what you do with your calculations, and then you come into two line centers of butter high line center and position locations, the butter deflect communication line centers in all calculations, right? The butterfly effect. Okay? So this basically puts you in a higher line center rotation interference. How to set up graph line center is all levels of view. I want you to understand how to set up your AI position location of direction. How to set up your program setting to its line connection to its position of direction location. How to set up sequence pattern at high interference location line connections. All right? So you can change your position of directions, go into light signals. So you have to understand the coloration. If it's green, it's position of the heart. If it's red, it's security. That will never change. Okay? The only thing that you change is what you change inside through your thought. You change your thought, you change your lines of communication, you change your data, you change your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, all in 1 second location. Because you're traveling extremely fast through acceleration, especially when you're mocking its calculation. Okay? So that's an important thing that you guys have to understand, right? Especially when you're in position locations, your AI vessels, and you're communicating to your map sequence location, all right? All right, so setting signals. Okay, we're going to set up high line in rotation. Coloration line streams. Now box interference location to ground line centers, TV box locations. 1, 2, 3, and we got 4 line center interference. And we got a 5 line center rotation of the dimensional inner rotation line condition and position location of kaleidoscope location. All right? Understanding what you do to travel is extremely important to its AI position location of directions. Okay? Once you get in that high line center, it changes all levels of view. It's incredible when you understand the communication system. All right? So it's very powerful when you change line conditions and levels of directions. Now you can go into a black line cycle. Now that puts position location to a higher line center location of space line communication of flux capacitor. Right? You see how powerful it is to actually travel to location on lines, all through flux capacitor through all lines of Y. Y comes into a line center location of T. See the T line? Right? You have to understand how to use your imagination locations, guys. Now this correlates high line center in position locations, setting a new signal high interference locations on lines. See the cloud line center? Right? In position locations, coming into the ground line center interference. Okay? This is where it comes into two membrane locations to its brain system. Location in one position, location in one direction. Wow. So it's mostly understanding how to use all levels of view. This correlates all lines and how you use your data stream. And every time you basically see your thought line center change position of directions, it's changing coloration of space and time through all levels of its anomaly. Okay? So we got 36 line center locations in position of directions. Taking you guys out of the equation, interference. Put position location line centers, 24,000 light signals and light locations. Box center times calculation, 12 reference, 12 line centers, 12 box interference. Bring it back in calculation, high stream interference to the team interference to ground perception where they are through the location. Done. You guys are back in calculation line system. All right. So it's partly understanding what you're seeing through all levels. Right? How you set this up. How do you set it up? Well, it's all levels of view. You just have to learn how to use the mechanism of travel inside position location to your vessel, because your vessel is all levels of communication. It's how you use all levels through its eye receptor line. Okay? So it's incredible when you are traveling. You understand more levels of you inside. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when you know what you're doing. Okay? You get more clarity. You get more vision. You get more calculated, more modified through all level connections to the simulation, right? Coming into the friendship, relationship, and partnership of your data streams. You're upgrading, you're uplooking, you're uploading, and you're downloading the location to its system. All right? All right, so I think that's good. Tomorrow, no class, but I will get information locations onto YouTube, or I might go live. It all depends, all right? Everybody have a fantastic weekend.